Well, nice to have you with us on a Friday afternoon here on your SiriusXM, the best channel you got going on 82. Nice to have you with us here, Christopher Russo, as we kick off a day of Mad Dog Unleashed on this 13th day of April, Friday the 13th, 2018. Eddie Erickson today, Colin Schmeling today, Billy Z just left the building for his pepperoni pie. Steve Torrey took a big woo. He got a chance to do something outside of breaking down Pelicans and Trailblazers. He can tell you about Des Bryant for 5 hours. We're not going there to start the show, I'll tell you that. And I bet we'll get into it, but not at the stop. That's not the lead of our day. But if you are Danny Cannell, why not? As we chat to you about 888 Mad Dog 6, that's your two-way sports talk telephone number. As we chat to you about what's going on as far as the world of sports is concerned. There's a lot going on. You got right at the start of the NHL playoffs, obviously the baseball season. You got a couple of weeks into the year. Yankees and the Red Sox we'll get to maybe a little bit later on. The Mets, the Pirates are 9-3. We'll have some fun with that. And of course, for a day here too, the Diamondbacks are playing well in LA this weekend against the Dodgers. We'll get into that. Again, the aforementioned Des Bryant. We'll spend a minute or two on that today. And of course, the NBA postseason, which begins in roughly 24 hours, where we have 4 this weekend on Saturday, 4 on Sunday, opening round, best of 5s, and away you go. And I thought I'd start the day off with a list of questions before this NBA, on the eve of the NBA postseason in 18. And I'll do that to get us going, and then get your calls in right thereafter, and we'll move it along. There are a list of questions with, obviously 16 teams. I'll give you as many questions as I can. I'll try to come up with 16 questions top of my head here in the next 10, 12 minutes. Question number 1 of the Houston Rockets: is this finally the year that they get the job done and advance to the next level and validate their unbelievably electric regular season, finally win a championship in D'Antoni, finally got Harden off the griddle, and he plays well in a big game? That is question number 1 to me in the NBA postseason, is the Rockets. Had the great regular year, obviously with Chris Paul, never played in a conference championship before. Harden, we all know about, who has had a very spotty big game career. Last year at home, Game 6, San Antonio was a complete meltdown. One of the most disastrous performances. I think he had 7 points that you're ever going to see in the history of an NBA great player. Obviously, D'Antoni, he likes to scream and yell a lot about the Stoudemire leaving the bench in a San Antonio series a long time ago when the Suns were up 3-2 and then they were compromised in a Game 6 at home, ended up losing that series. But the fact remains is D'Antoni's system, which is very good regular season. It's a free-flowing offensive system. He's good with the point guards. Jeremy Lin, look at that. He learned it in Europe. He's very good with that. But, in a big game, in a big spot, when teams have a chance to prepare very diligently for what you're trying to run, can he get a big shot and make things happen offensively? And if it's all not working offensively, can he win a game with his defense? And he has not proved he can do that yet. So I think there's lots of questions as far as Houston is concerned. Harden and D'Antoni's system, that is question number 1 on the eve of the NBA playoffs. Question number 2 is Golden State and health. That's simply, you want to throw chemistry in too, because they've been so disheveled with all the injuries, whether it's ribs, whether it's Thompson, whether it's obviously Curry's knee. You could do that, but I'll just say overall health. Are they going to be healthy enough to, be raring to go? They don't have to be healthy necessarily in the first round, but are they going to be healthy enough when the money's on the table for the championship? And that's probably going to be in the Western Conference Final, because you figure the winner there will win the title. Are they going to be at full steam, raring to go, and healthy enough? That is question number 2, and that's a simple one. You could even say that's question number 1, but I'll make that question 2. Curry's knee and all the other bumps and bruises that team has accrued over the last really 3 or 4 postseasons, the wear and tear on their bodies, even to Durant to a certain degree. Are they going to be A-OK physically to defend their championship? I don't think there's any doubt about it. That is question number 2, as far as I'm concerned. Question number 3, I'm going to take them in order of importance. Question number 3, to me, is Toronto. Are the Raptors ready to take that next step? I mean, that to me is an easy question number 3. They won 59 games. They have been at this point in their postseason last couple years. They've been at this kind of level before. They are the number 1 seed. It's the first time they've ever been a number 1 seed. They got a home court throughout the whole postseason. This is the time now. They wanted Dwayne Casey to develop his bench, even at the cost of some wins. I don't know if it cost them any wins, but they did develop their bench. They got a pretty good second unit. We'll have to wait and see when the money's on the line how good that second unit is and whether that second unit can be counted on in a big elimination game or, 2-2 game 5, that kind of scenario. Now, we'll see about Toronto. I don't love their backcourt in big spots. I don't trust Lowry in a big spot. DeRozan's a little bit of a guy. I don't necessarily trust him. He's not a great three-point shooter. I don't trust him in a great scenario. So is this finally the year where Toronto, makes that next step and takes that next step? And they have to do it this year. This is, if they get ambushed by the Cavs in the second round, that's going to be, I think, resulting in maybe a Raptor changeover for next year. So this is a big year for the Raptors. I don't think they have to win the NBA championship, but the way the East is set up, no Irving, Boston depleted, number 1 seed, Toronto, to me, has got to get to an NBA Finals. So that, to me, is an easy one. That would be question number 3. Question number 4 would be Cleveland. And simply with the fact is that will they be able to turn it on and off like a water faucet like they've been able to do in the past? They have had very up and down regular seasons. This year they seem to be more interested in other years. LeBron did play 82 games. Last year, obviously, other years he did not. This year he played all 82, which is a tribute to him. As Van Gundy told us yesterday, Harden missed 9 games, and and obviously LeBron did not. I mean, Harden missed essentially 12% of the season. And LeBron did not. But are the Cavaliers vulnerable enough? No Irving. Another run at this. Shall we be concerned of their horrendous defense and how up and down and erratic they were in the course of the regular season? Should be we worried about that come postseason? Let's face it, folks. The smart money here in 2018 in the Eastern Conference is on Cleveland. That's the smart money. Now, you want to take a run at Toronto? Go ahead. You want to take a run at Indiana? Go ahead. First round. But that's the smart money. How about the Cavaliers? Do we still trust them without that number 2, 1A alpha dog? Got a bunch of complimentary players. Is it still good enough to win the conference? That, to me, that's an easy one. I think that, without a doubt, is question number 4. I think question 5, there's a couple different ways you go question 5. I'll go question 5, Oklahoma City, with the Westbrook and with Anthony and with George. Will they be dynamic and electric come postseason play here where they will be counted on to get the job done? Early in the year, they struggled because they didn't shoot well. Anthony, very up and down offensively. He never shoots well, Westbrook, anyway. And obviously, George took a little while to mesh. And then later on in the year, their defense didn't play as well. So they won 48 games because of talent. They didn't win 58 games like they probably should have. They only won the 48. Where is Oklahoma City right now as far as this postseason is concerned? That, to me, is an easy one from question 5. They could lose in the first round. Utah, they could lose in the first round, and they could get Houston in round 2 and play game 7. I mean, that's the up and downness as far as OKC is concerned. They are very dangerous. They have obviously a Hall of Famer running the team. They really have 3 Hall of Famers on the team. One of them is not a Hall of Famer right now in Anthony, but George is. What is that team going to do? Are they going to mesh? Not a lot of depth, but are they, Adams is still pretty good. Are they going to mesh properly in this postseason? What to expect out of Oklahoma City? That, to me, is question number 5. I'll do 8 here. Question number 6 is, will youth be served? And that's Philadelphia. That, to me, is question number 6. They end the regular season on an incredibly long winning streak. Was it 16, 17 games? Whatever it might have been. They won 52 games. This is a team that did nothing but tank. This is a team that played the Houston Astro card, the Chicago Cub card, Sam Hinkle and everything else. Let's be as bad as we possibly can be to get number 1 picks. I mean, that's what they did. So they got Fultz, they got Simmons, and they got Embiid. I mean, that's what this franchise has done. Will it finally pay off? Had a great obviously finished the regular season. They earned the number 3 seed, which to me is something they wanted because that gets them Boston, an injured Boston, and does not get them, gets them out of that Toronto bracket and puts them, you would think, at least on paper, in an easier scenario as far as the postseason is concerned. They should beat Miami. You can make a case that they can get easily to the conference final. They got 2 great players on their team. I'm assuming Embiid's going to play. I don't know when, but I'm assuming he's going to play here pretty quick. I don't know if he'll be on a roster. I don't know if he's going to play opening night. We'll have to wait and see tomorrow night what his status is. He's out tomorrow night or out for this first round? What is he? He's out for the tournament or just for the first game?
At least for the first game.
He's not playing tomorrow night.
He's out.
Well, they still should be
unless
Miami.
There's a miraculous recovery.
All right, so that's something we're going to have to keep an eye on. But whether, and good job by Eddie with that, what Philadelphia does here will be very, very interesting. They have enough talent. They beat Cleveland last week without Embiid. They should beat Miami. How far can Philadelphia jump in their first year in the postseason? That to me is a good one, and that to me is, if you want to look at question 6, I would put them at question number 6. Question number 7 for me, if you look at the postseason, you know what I'm going to say? I'm going to say Anthony Davis. He is, in my estimation, if I was starting a team today, and obviously I'm going to take Durant and I'm going to take LeBron if it's 1 year, I could make an argument, and I would take him myself, because Russo would take him. Now, he's hurt a lot, but I would take him. I think he's the next best player in the NBA. I'd take him over anybody. I'd take him over Harden. I'd take him over Westbrook. I'd definitely take him over Westbrook. I don't like Westbrook in big games shooting the ball. I will take Anthony Davis over any other guy that you want to name in the NBA. And now he takes the court in a best-of-5 series. He's only been in one post-series in his career. That was a few years ago against Golden State. The Warrior team was a big-time team. They were the 8th seed, the Pelicans, and they got swept. That's no knock on him. This time, they got an extra couple of years under their belt. He's a little further along in his development, and they are playing a team that should not sweep them in Portland. And he will take the court, and he couldn't have said this in the Golden State series a few years ago, but he takes the court now every game in this best-of-7 against Portland, where he is the best player out there. Is he good enough right now to lead New Orleans through a series? That, to me, is question number 6. Now, you can't expect him to be Golden State. No, I'm not asking that. But is he good enough? I mean, they won 48 games. Portland won 49. I mean, is he good enough to win a series, quote-unquote, single-handedly? Now, they got some other good players. Holiday, good player. Rondo's played very well for him. Is he good enough to do that? I think that is, to me, as a sports fan that I'm very interested in, that is question number 7. So question 1 is Houston. Question 2 is Golden State's health. Question 3 is Toronto next step. Question 4, how do I read the Cleveland up and down erratic play in the postseason? Question 5, youth be served. Question 6, Oklahoma City, are they ready to mesh? I think Oklahoma City was 5 and Philadelphia was 6. And question number 7 is Anthony Davis. Is he ready to lead his team through a round in the postseason? So the other one I will give you, I will go along the same line, and I will give you the Greek Freak as number 8. He's got a little postseason experience. They played Toronto last year. They had Toronto in big trouble in that first round. They won one of the first 2 games. I believe they won game 1 in Toronto. They won game 3 back at home. They were up 2-1, and then they lost 3 straight games. He is a tremendous player. You can make an argument he's top 4 or 5 players in the NBA without a doubt. You can make that argument. I mean, athletically, he may not be refined like some of these other kids, but I don't think he's as refined as Anthony Davis, but he's a tremendous player. Boston is beleaguered right now. They got a lot of injuries. A Smart back for the postseason for this first round? I don't even know. You know Irving isn't. You know Hayward isn't. He's a great coach, Stevens, but Boston is, this is not their time right now because of bad luck, because of a variety of reasons. Irving's last injury, they've really been sort of playing behind the 8 ball beginning the first 5 minutes of the year with Hayward in Cleveland. This is a chance for Milwaukee. He's out, Smart, so he doesn't play.
Not ready still for another couple weeks.
Oh, so he's out. So they have 3 guys out. Celtics do first round. This is an opportunity for the Freak. Is he good enough to take Milwaukee through a round in this tournament? Now, Stevens is a great coach. The Celtics are not a huge favorite. They're a slight favorite, 2-7 series. Is the Freak capable, best player on the court? There's still Horford over there, though. There's still some decent players on the, listen, Jaylen Brown's good. Rozier played well. There's still some decent players on the Boston side of things, and he's a great coach. Is he capable, in our eyes, the Freak, to win a first-round playoff series? I'm not as confident with him as I would be with Anthony Davis. But those are your questions as the NBA gets it going here in 24 hours. The most intriguing ones are Houston and Golden State, because I think everybody who even follows basketball casually thinks the NBA champion is going to be one of those 2 teams. 19 after the hour, we continue. Mad Dog Unleashed.